I think there's a huge opportunity out there now, as you said. Also, there's been a huge shift since OTAs like Airbnb have come along. You know, they're still relatively new into this industry compared to hotels. And it has shifted the entire way that people book short term.
My top tip really is an amalgamation of what you guys have just said there, which is you have time to actually spend time on your family. You have time to actually spend on your business, working on your business, rather than being bogged down, stuck in, head down, where, you're just getting on with the day-to-day chores. So, you can actually work on your business. And, that's, I was supposed to say one tip, but that's three now. So the third one,
keep going.
It's good.
So, but, this is what it is. And the third thing, what I love about it is, you don't have to be involved with the parts and the elements that you don't want to be involved in. So, for example, if you've got a tricky guest, for example, there's you can actually create a several routine or an email that you can send out to them, or a number of messages which can sort of pre-qualify or give them the answers to what they're actually asking, which means you don't have to get involved until, if sometimes you do have to, and at that point you can. Yep. So it gives, that personal touch, and that's what I love about it, that, you got more of your own time back to do what you want to do. It's all great when everything goes right. Yeah. So let's also let's dish the dirt on what actually happens when things go wrong. So, have you got an example, James, of something that can go wrong with someone's service accommodation business?
Million things.
Yeah, pick your top one, and how can we overcome it?
My top one. Well, what I'll start with by saying, and I'll preface all that by saying that, look, it's like things happen, things go wrong, people make mistakes. Regardless of like best offer in the world, best intentions in the world, things can always go wrong. I think like what really helps avoid like situations escalating is if something goes wrong and you report it and then it gets fixed in a timely manner and it's done, that can actually ironically make everything better rather than just everything being normal, so if something's a little bit bad, you report it and it's fixed, you actually feel happier at the end of it. So I just want to start off with that, like things going wrong is like normal, like we're all humans, all make mistakes, so that's important. In terms of what can go wrong, I mean, look, we travel a lot, and we've been to London probably about 10 times last year. We're probably on about an 8th trip now this year. Just things that might not seem necessarily big, like getting to an apartment and then realising that the number that you ring when they say, hey, look, ring us to tell us when you're at the property, and you ring it and no one answers. And, before you make the booking, you get a number and you're like, okay, cool, so I'm going to get there and it's going to be fine, I'm going to ring them, that's all good. You feel like nice and relieved about it, the stress isn't there, and then you arrive, you get the train, you get the plane, you get the train, you get to the property, and then you ring and no one answers. That then instantly becomes super, super stressful. Like, have I been robbed? Is there a scam? What's going to happen? What's going to happen tomorrow? Like, all these things. So that's one example.
Yeah, so true, isn't it? Because can you imagine, right now, when you look at the amount of service accommodation there is compared to hotels, if we look at just London, we're looking at over 88.8% of accommodation is hotels. Now, if we go out of London and we look at the rest of the country, we find that this is data by AMPM, by the way. It's not all up here. This is, this is credible data.
You're reading it from.
Yeah. So AMPM, it's 98.8%. 98.8% is hotels. So the way we view this at Pyramid Properties, there is such a massive opportunity to actually, get into business. Now, why do people go to hotels? Well, one of the keys you just mentioned there, right? People don't know what they're getting. They're a little bit wary of what they're getting. Once they've got confirmation that what they've got is good, it's trustworthy, it's tested, and those things like that, having that phone call, does the job, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Someone picks up the phone, it's like, oh, it's safe. It's safe, it's a real apartment. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
For me, it's the little things as well once you're in the property, like being able to use the microwave, which I couldn't do last time we came. Washing machines, showers, televisions when there's 3 remote controls, which again we couldn't do last time we stayed. And it's basic things that probably for the property manager it's dead obvious. Why would you have to explain to someone you use this remote to turn it on and this remote to do whatever else you have to do? But for a guest, it's not obvious, and it can really just niggle away if you're there for whether it's one night and you can't use the microwave that you need to heat your dinner up in, or if it's 5 nights and you haven't managed to work out the television. It's those kind of things. And again, it's about being able to kind of preempt it, and as you said, have those templates ready, or have video instructions that you can send your guests before they've even come to stay, before it's even become an issue, before they contact you, or worse, they don't contact you, and you just read about it in a bad review on one of the biggest booking channels online, saying television doesn't work, shower was cold, couldn't use the lockbox. That's the classic one we hear. Guests can't use lockboxes. So
yeah, they're very minor issues really, which can be resolved, can't they?
exactly.
Yeah. I've got a naughty one for you.
Tell us
I don't know if I should share this one or not.
I've heard quite a few naughty ones in the
So,
past.
everybody else, I don't know if you can share this.
I don't think I definitely can't on camera.
Yeah.
But
So we had, let's just say, we had a couple honeymooners, because we've got some lovely apartments. I mean, one of the things I love about service accommodation is, we have some fabulous apartments in some fabulous locations. And, you really feel like you've arrived as a business person. And we had a honeymoon couple, let's just say for the weekend, who were staying over, the champagne and everything else. And we had the cleaners in. We had a new guest move in, lady moved in with with a child, and got a complaint. And the complaint was she found something under the bed that she shouldn't have found. Let's just leave it at that.
Imaginations.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But she was fine. A bottle of Chardonnay and forgive me was enough. Part of the team go over. So it's a personal touch. Just taking that extra little bit of mile, just to make a phone call, just to say, look, cleaner missed that.
Yeah.
But that was a bit of a
interesting
one.
Yeah. That's it, like I said at the start, it's like people make mistakes, and if you own up to them and you deal with them in a quick and timely manner, then it's generally all sorted, isn't it? At the same time, on the other side of it, isn't it? It's like you said, it's if something is, I don't know, like not dealt with, then you just get really worked up about it. If, I don't know, there's a pillowcase missing off the pillow and you ask him for it and it's just not done, you're like, how inept can you be to do that? So it goes both ways.
So here's a question for you two guys. Why do you think people actually should be getting into service accommodation? Why should they be actually creating businesses right now? What do you think the one key point is that they need to get into this now?
I think there's a huge opportunity out there now, as you said. Also, there's been a huge shift since OTAs like Airbnb have come along. They're still relatively new into this industry compared to hotels. And it has shifted the entire way that people book short term, whether it's holidays, business travel, whether you're coming in for the night and back out in the morning, whatever it is, everything's changing. Guest expectations as well are changing, and people now do want more for their money. They want different kinds of experiences. Maybe they're traveling more in groups, and I think service accommodation and different accommodation types, fresher minds, new businesses, new ways of working, are really what customers are looking for. And from the property manager side as well, you've got to be the one that stands out for people to come to you. So you've got to be creative. And I think people do like to be creative, especially people who are using this, maybe as a secondary job or an exit strategy from their job.
Is it doable?
Absolutely. We've seen it time and time again. They're the kind of success stories that I love. When people come to us, they start out with a property or two property, huge dreams, and they achieve it. And it's great. It's great to follow that journey with them.
And that buzz, isn't it? That buzz that you actually get, that you're actually doing this, it's actually working. And I don't know if you're like me, it's when that, you start something new and that money actually goes into your bank account, it just makes it real. It's like, oh, wow, you actually did it. Really, really exciting. How about yourself? Why do you think, James, that people should be getting into this type of short-term accommodation right now?
I think I've countered it a little bit. I think they should have been doing it a few years ago, and I think now is as good a time as any.
Yeah.
And the people who were doing it years ago, are the ones who are most successful, and what we found, the people that we talked to, are, and what I really love about it is they're responsible for their own success.
Yes.
And look, it's dead easy. Anyone can do it and get a property, and like you said, all the different models that you can do. And you can have a property and you can put it on these channels and you can do it. And you might not be successful if it's minimum. It's low entry, but it can be low effort, and you're not going to win. And the point is that it's really rewarding those people that are putting in a lot of effort. They're making the right decisions. they're really like researching it. Even if they've got like second jobs and they've got all other responsibilities, it's still rewarding to those people that are putting the time, effort and energy into making it work.
So what's so rewarding about it?
What's rewarding about it? I mean, of course, you got the financial reward about it. But I think it's the fact that you get people that are taking properties that are not necessarily used for that reason, and they're like converting them, so they might have a different usage or whatever, and then they're putting them into the serviced accommodation, serviced apartment kind of usage, and they're seeing rewards on it.
That's so true, isn't it? Bringing it back into the market, actually doing something with the property that other people aren't doing. One of the things I love about property is exactly what you're sharing here. You got customers, but your customers are people that are actually living in that accommodation, and you're actually providing a really good service. I mean, you imagine how does it feel providing a really good service and making money and having a business, having it in control.
Exactly.
What more could you want?
It's a reward, eh? That's good.
That sounds really good. Sounds really good.
Following on as well from hearing people's success stories, it's why we really love and come to events like Premier Property Club's trainings, mastermind classes as well, because you get the opportunity to sit and speak with people who are doing it day to day, or people who are starting out and want to do it. And for us, education is a huge part of this, and we invest a lot on our side, making sure the right education is in place. You guys are doing a fantastic job in the industry as well, making sure that, as we were saying earlier, whether people decide to go one way or another, listen to you or not, it's really important that people like yourselves at Premier Property Club are there so that they can get the access to that education, know what they're getting themselves into or what's happening, the changes that are coming up. Because this industry is changing all the time. It's starting to standardise. There are regulations coming in that weren't there 3 years ago. Short-term rental is the fastest growing sector in UK tourism, and that's just bringing change after change after change. It's really important that anyone who's either been doing it for a while or starting out new have a point of contact like yourselves where they can stay on top of that, where they can know, if I want to get into this or continue being successful in it, what's your advice? What's the best strategy? Where should I be looking? What should I do about this? And just have those opportunities and those platforms to be able to share stories, peer-to-peer learning as well.
Yeah, that's so true. So, service accommodation, we see people out there where, they're doing all sorts of, can I say crazy things?
Yeah.
Some people are. And our aim at Premier Property is really to share our experience in what we're actually doing, how we built a business up over the last 5 years, and how you can do this legally, correctly, and how you can do it professionally. Where you can stand tall with your head up high, knowing that you've got a legitimate business. And ain't that difficult to do, very easy to do. As long as you've got a system and you learn the detail, totally doable, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Lovely. Lovely to see you, Kathrine.
You too, Cam. Thanks.